Inside this video topic, we'll discuss a very interesting concept, and that is how to create custom user login page inside WordPress. As we know that after successful installation of WordPress, we get an admin login page. But in case if we want our own custom design, we want to customize the default login page, how to do that? So inside this complete video, we'll discuss the complete concept that how to create our own custom user login page. Let's go to browser. So I'm inside my one of the WordPress setup. I will go here. Let's click on logout. So here we can see that after logout, here we have our default login page. We need to pass our username or email value, and also we have to pass password. So once we pass all these values, automatically this WordPress, according to the credentials, it will go and log in that user inside this WordPress setup. For example, if I pass, let's say admin, click on login. Now we can see that we are redirected into this admin panel. So what is the basic concern to create this video? So I want to create our own custom login page so that the same data, like the same authentication process, we can go and do with that page. So what is the approach? To do that, simply we have to create a custom plugin like by using our custom code inside this WordPress setup. And first thing first, inside that plugin, we'll create a shortcode. So whenever if I paste that shortcode to any of the WordPress page, automatically by the help of that shortcode, we'll create our own custom login page. So instead of displaying this default WordPress login page, then we can see our own login page. So once we pass the same data like username or email value and password, so automatically also we have to handle the authentication process and the user redirection. So inside this complete video, we'll discuss a very interesting concept of WordPress, that is how to create our own custom login page. And one more request, if you think guys that this video will be very helpful to learn, so please give us a thumbs up, subscribe to this channel and share this video as much as you can in circle so that everyone get a chance to learn from it. Now here, first thing first, I will go to the WordPress startup. I will go into my VS Code. Let's go inside WP content plugins, and inside this plugins folder let's create our folder called wp-custom login page, and inside this folder I'll create our main plugin file called wp-custom login page.php, and inside this let's quickly add some like multi-line comments of php so that our plugin will be introduced into our WordPress setup. So here plugin name, let's say WordPress simply WP custom login page description. So this plugin will provide a custom login for user authentication. Then here let's say version 1.0 author author. And apart from these parameters, also we have like author URI, also we have like plugin URI. So for the time being, I will add one more parameter called author URI, and I will put my blog URL. Save these changes. So after passing all these data, let's go to browser, go inside plugins, and here inside this plugins list, now we can see that WP custom login page. So this is our plugin name, like plugin title, plugin description. Here is the plugin version, author, and if I inspect this author name, now we can see that author URI. So successfully, now what the plugin we have created now successfully registered inside this WordPress. Now let's go click on activate. So right now it will perform no activity, but what to do? Let's go to editor. So first I will check that this plugin should be valid inside a WordPress setup. It means that this plugin must be installed into a WordPress setup. Otherwise, this plugin will not execute. So what I will do, I will put with the help of WordPress constant, that is defined here, and inside this double quotes or single quotes, let's say abs path. This is a constant which basically provides by WordPress. So if it is not defined, it means the setup where we are trying to install this plugin simply exit from here. Now let's go here. So first thing first, I will create or register shortcode so that wherever if I paste this shortcode, so this shortcode is going to create our own custom login form. So here, let's say add shortcode name. So let's say WP hyphen custom login, and inside this, let's pass our callback function. So WordPress custom login page. This is our plugin prefix, and here, let's say display, or here you may say, let's say handle user login. Let's copy this callback function. So here, let's say handle user login. So function name. And inside this function, as we know that we have to create a login form. So first I will use the concept of PHP buffer. So OB start. And in between, we have to create one more function. And by the help of that function, simply we'll create our custom login form. So what to do for the timing, let's say OB get clean. And in between these two functions, simply let's say display login form. And here, let's say WordPress custom login page underscore, let's say display login form. Now, this is the function we have to create. So let's copy the function name and here login form. So function name. And one more thing that our login page should be visible when user will be logged out. So also we have to use one more WordPress function here, that is if user like logged in, if user is logged in. So in that case, simply let's return, and here let's say user is logged in. Otherwise, if user is logged out, simply we have to call this function, and this function is going to display our login form. So here it's a closing PHP tag, opening PHP tag. Now inside this function, we have to write some piece of HTML code that will be our login form. So simply let's say form tag, and here let's say p tag. First we label tag, and inside this label I will pass username or email address. Then we have to pass input type text box, and here it's a name equals to, I will call it as username. If we are interested to add like placeholder, also we can add like placeholder, but we don't want here for the time being. So let's say username. Now next, I will add one more p tag. Let's say label. Next, we have to pass password, input type. Let's say password, and the field name. Let's say password. We don't want this ID, so let's remove. Now here we have two input fields like the username and password. Next we want a button. So let's say button, and here I will call it as, let's say login. And here let's add a name attribute, and I will call it as submit underscore login. So successfully now here we have a form, and inside this form we have two input fields, and also we have a submit button. If suppose if I specify, for example, type equals to button, so this button will be a normal button. This fill button is not going to submit this form. But here, if suppose if we remove this type attribute, so automatically if this button is available inside a form tag without having like any type attribute, so automatically this button should be a submit button. But whenever if I cut this button and place after this form tag, now this button is a normal button. So let's go and put there. So what next? I will go then inside this form tag, let's say method. This form will be submitted using post request type, and I want to submit this form to the same URL. So here, let's say echo, and I will use server variable, and here let's say request URI. Save these changes. So we can see that here we have our sort code. Here we have the callback function. We are simply checking if the user is logged in. This will be the message. Otherwise, in case we have to call this function, and this function is going to display our own custom login form. And also let's copy inside for attribute. password inside form attribute. So what next? Simply I'll go and copy this short code. Let's go to browser. I'll go then inside this pages. Let's create a new page. So add new page, and here I will call it as, let's say, custom login, or here let's say custom user login. Now we want to paste our short code, so we can see that after typing /sho, now here we have a block. Let's click on it, square bracket, and pasting it here. So I think there will be custom login. So let's click on publish, and successfully page has been published. I am pressing Ctrl and open into a new tab, so we can see that currently the admin is logged in. So that's why here we have the message called user is logged in. But in case, if suppose, let's close this tab, and if suppose user will be logged out, so after that if I go and reload, and now we can see that here we have our login form called username or email address and password. Right now we don't have any CSS, so that's why design is totally distorted. But the main concept that how to create a custom login page. So if I go and inspect this form, and let's do some zoom out here, so we can see that here we have form, method type, our action URL. It means this form will be submitted to this URL, what the URL we have. And inside it here we can see that our username field, our next field is of password and a button. So what next? If we pass any data like username or email value or password, simply we have to go and authenticate with our user data. So let's go to editor, and one more thing, also we have to implement the concept of validation. So I will go here. Let's close this function because this function is only going to show our this form to page. Let's go here, and here let's say handle form submit. So function, let's say WordPress custom login page underscore handle form submit. And this function I will call inside the shortcode. So before this display login form, let's say handle form submit, and I will call this function. So let's go inside this function, and here let's if, as we know that we are submitting our form using post request type. So inside this post, let's copy this name attribute of this button. Now next after this, what I will do, simply I will go and cut this code. Let's use a PHP function called eachSet, which basically means that we have submitted our form using post request type and the name attribute value of button is available. So here let's first read all about our form input data. So by using this post variable, the name attribute value of username called username, then here we have password, so post here, call password, and one more thing, like before assigning all these values to all these variables, also inside WordPress, we have the option to sanitize those. What I mean, if I want to sanitize these values before assignment to these variables, so I can use the concept of WordPress functions. So simply, for example, if we want to sanitize this username value, so we have the function called sanitize underscore text field. It's a WordPress function, and simply paste that value inside that function. And here, for example, for this password, let's say sanitize underscore text field and put it here. And also, we want to put like the validations if suppose any user without any value hit submit button. So also we have to handle like the emptiness or no value conditions. So here what I will do, I will use the concept of global error class object of WordPress. So here let's say error object, and I'll use WordPress error class to store our errors. And here first I will check the username. So here let's say if empty, if username is empty, so in that case let's say error object, then I will call add method to store our error message. Let's define first a key here. So I will key, let's say call as username error, and inside here let's say username is required. Now next let's copy. I will do the same pattern of code for the password. So here, let's say check password. Here it will be password. So error object, I will call it as password underscore error. And here it will be, let's say, password is required. So let's say that if user has submitted all these data, so what to do? So first I will check if we have any error. So how to check? Simply if not empty error object, then I will call get error messages or method. If it is not empty, it means we have some errors. So what to do? By using this for each function block, let's say error object get error messages, and we have to read each message. So single error message. Let's go inside this function block, and here what to do? Let's echo div tag, closing div tag. But instead of defining into a single line, let's go and divide into two lines. So echo closing div tag. Now in between opening div tag, closing div tag, what I will do, let's echo by using p tag, and here let's concatenate with this single error message. Now successfully, if we have any error, simply we are printing here. Otherwise, let's go inside else block. It means successfully we have the data of username and password. So what I will do, let's define a variable called credentials. It's an array type, and here let's say user underscore login, and inside this key we have to pass the username. Then here, let's say user underscore password. Remember, these are the keywords of WordPress. And here, let's say password. And also I will pass one more key called remember. Remember equals to true. So after storing like user auth data or user login details. Now let's call a WordPress function, and it will be WP sign on. And inside this function, look at here, the first parameter, or we may say argument, we have to pass the credentials. So let's copy this credentials array, and I will pass it here. And also inside this second value, it is asking for secure cookie. So for the time being, I will pass a false value. So let's say that what the data we have passed here, if it is correct, so it will return an user object, and inside this user object we have the complete user information on the basis of these data. Otherwise we have some error. So what to do here? First I will check that if we have got is WP error. So what to do? I'll simply go inside this if block. It means user details are not valid. So what to do? Let's echo simply user. I'll call a method called get error message. Otherwise, if suppose our details are valid, what to do? Simply first we have to check that what is the role of that user. If it is admin, we have to redirect into admin panel. Otherwise, for normal users, for example subscriber, we have to redirect into the home URL. So what to do? Let's say if in array and administrator, so administrator, and here let's say use a typecast. So as I told you that this will be a user object after authenticating with the data. So here let's say user and roles. Now inside this array, inside this complete array, if the role is something called administrator, so in that case what to do? Let's say WP underscore redirect, and we have to go inside admin URL. Otherwise for normal users, what to do? WP redirect, and we have to go, let's say, into home URL. So successfully, now here we have the complete process of user authentication as well as their redirection. Save these changes. Let's go here. If I go and reload, now let's go and pass, means without any value, click on login. And now we can see that username is required and also password is required. So if we want to do in color equals to red, what to do? Let's go inside this div tag. Let's add style equals to inside this single quote. Let's say color equals to red. Let's copy this code. Then I will go here and let's use p tag concatenate, and here let's concatenate with this closing p tag, and inside this p tag I'll use this style attribute. Save these changes. I'll go here. Let's click on this login button. So here we can see that now error messages coming in red color, that is username is required and password is required. Now let's pass some dummy data into these fields. So as we know that this data or this user does not exist inside our database, let's click on login. And now we can see that the username what we are providing is not registered on this site. If you are unsure of username, try your email address. So as we know that this message we didn't write inside this code, instead it is coming from this method. Now let's pass a real data. So for example, I am passing our admin login. So admin is the username and password is also admin. Click on login. And now we can see that successfully after validating our user credentials, also it has detected that this user is an admin user and successfully we are inside our admin page. So what next if we pass like let's say the normal user details, let's go and click on users. Let's copy this one and we can see that this is a subscriber user role. Click here logout, and also we have to fix this issue because we want instead of displaying this login page like default login page, also after logout we have to redirect into a custom login page. But for the time being I want to test all about redirection. So here, let's say custom user login page. Now we are passing the subscriber user role, and I think that the password is from 1 to 8. Click on login, and now we can see that also after passing the second user data, automatically the WordPress detected that it is not an admin user, so it has redirected into the home URL of this WordPress website. Now let's go click on logout. So here we can see that after user logout, now again user is coming to this old screen of login, and that is the default login screen of WordPress. But instead, as we know that here we have the new login form. So instead of displaying this old login form, now we want after user logout, user should go to a new login form. So how to implement this condition? So we can see that inside this login page URL, here we have a .php file. It means this URL containing a file that is wp-login.php. Now we can use this file name as a condition if suppose user is logged out, and if this file is available inside our URL, so simply we have to redirect user to our new login form. Let's go to editor. So here let's close first this handle function. Then I will go and let's create a function called handle login page redirection. Let's create a function. So function WordPress custom login page plugin prefix, and here let's say handle login page redirection. So what to do, and one more thing, let's go and hook this function with an action hook call init here, and I will call this function. So let's pass this function, and I'll then go here and let's put if condition. I'll use a PHP function called string position, and here let's pass our complete URL, so global server, and inside here let's say request URI. Now if complete URL contains this string value called wp-login.php, if it is available, if it is available, and also user is not logged in, so is user logged in. So here we have two conditions if this substring is available inside complete URL and also user is not logged in. So what to do? Let's say WP redirect. So we have to go home URL, and here we have to pass let's say custom user login. So to confirm this URL, let's go to browser, and if I log in, let's say admin, then I will go into pages, And if I open here, so we can see custom user login. Let's go and view into new tab. So this is the URL. So simply I will copy. Let's go here and I will pasting it here. So custom user login. It's okay. Save these changes. Then I will go here, click on logout. And once we click on logout, now we can see that instead of displaying our old login form, now this time here we have our new login form. Let's go again login, admin, click on login. We are logged in into an admin panel, do some activity, and after activity, when I try to click on this logout, so we can see that here we have our default login form. So successfully now this is the overall concept that how to create a custom login page by using our own custom code of plugin into WordPress. So what next? Now let's say that I want to design this custom login form. Instead, I want to add some CSS so that this distorted design will get some design will be eye-catching. Now here, to add some CSS, I'll use the concept of ChatGPT AI. So first I will go into our form code and here it is. Let's copy the complete code of this form here and also I will go and wrap this form tag, let's say inside this div tag. Let's give an ID. So I will call it as, let's say, login hyphen form. Let's paste inside this form inside this div here. Then I will copy this complete div. I'll then go into a ChatGPT AI tool. So first I will go and interact, let's say hi here. Let's paste our complete code. So I want some design of this HTML and don't use any third-party CSS, for example, Bootstrap, Tailwind CSS. We want only having a normal CSS to design this form. So don't use any third-party CSS and please provide some eye-catching design for this. And one more thing, I want all the CSS should use this parent div ID. So here and also use parent ID as this one. Hit enter. So after passing our form data like our HTML form, then we have some prompt here. And on the basis of this input prompt, now ChatGPT AI tool is very smart. It has provided some piece of CSS code. So what I will do, let's copy this CSS code from here. Copy from here. Then I will go here and let's say before this div tag, I will add a style tag and inside this style tag, I will paste the complete code of that CSS. Save these changes. Once we do, if I go and reload, and now we can see that instead of distorted design, now here we have this time our perfect design for this login screen. So if we don't pass any value, click on login. Now you can see that it is working. Let's pass some invalid data. It is also working. Now let's pass a valid data. Hit enter or login. Now you can see that successfully we are logged in. Let's go click on logout. And here we have our custom user login page. So successfully now inside this whole video, now here we have the complete concept that how to create our own custom login form inside WordPress. So here friends, for this interesting video, please give us a thumbs up, subscribe to this YouTube channel. Now let's meet to our next amazing video. So for this video session guys, thank you for watching and have a great day.